Open our usually in place. Personal law. It's going to be now Monday or Tuesday. Sure, I'll do this.
Well, it's 10 o'clock. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Appreciate, there's a few online. Appreciate all the elected officials and department heads coming down for this meeting on credit card and meal purchasing with county funds. And if you are not aware, the commissioners, and Doug's got it, we have a stack of them right here this morning. The commissioners are responsible for signing off on the expenditures of the county. And there's been some expenditures that have come through our office, and as the commissioners, we're fiscally responsible for accounting for the money. And there's been some expenditures that have raised some questions in our office. I guess this, to me, is just as good as time as any at the start of the year to figure out and to go over what are county expenditures for the work of business and what maybe are on the fine line or are not expenditures of the county. So in the policy handbook, on the credit card policy, and mind you, this is from 2016, the last time the credit card policy was done. County credit card may be used only for the following: hotel expenses, fuel for county vehicles, airfare, and internet purchases with prior approval from the commissioners. Please note the credit card cannot be used for meals. That's right in the county handbook. So that kind of outlines the credit card policy. Maybe the credit card policy needs to be updated as things have progressed to encompass a few other things. As far as the meals and the county paying for meals, this comes off, and if somebody has information elsewhere, I would be more than happy. But this came off of the United States government website, appropriations law for food, use of appropriated foods for or money for purchase of food. As a general rule, an agency may not expend appropriated funds to provide food to government employees or other individuals, as it's considered an expense personal to the individual. As such, providing food to employees and other individuals generally cannot be said to be a proper necessary expense of the agency. There may be certain circumstances, however, where, depending on the recipient and the funds used, the agency may expend funds to provide food below they explain the circumstances. Obviously, in that travel, there's a section in here on award ceremony. There's a section in here on conferences, cultural awareness, emergency circumstances, internal agency business meetings, things like that, training. So with that being said, we're not here to micromanage. It's been said to us that the commissioner set the budget, and through the departments, you can utilize that budget how department or elected officials see fit. Going back into the policy handbook, the county commission may from time to time establish restrictions on spending appropriated funds. When the county commissioners makes that determination, they shall notify each department head of any restrictions and required purchases for all employees to follow. That's kind of where I'm at. I don't believe that the county should provide meals for employees just willy-nilly. I don't think our taxpayers should be spending their money to provide us for a meal for some of these circumstances that we have seen come through the office. I believe that credit card purchases should be utilized for purchases that are needed to do business for the county. I don't see a purpose for the credit cards to be used for things other than the conducting of county business. That's my opinion as the commissioner. That comes right out of the policy handbook, as well as the off the United States government website. I did talk to Nancy from Mako. I can't think of her last name. She says that meals provided to county employees when not in travel is considered a fringe benefit. Therefore, a fringe benefit is taxable as you as a person needs to be put through the clerk and recorder's office, and that is a taxable benefit to each employee. So that's the way MACO sees it. Obviously, disasters, there's other circumstances that fall into play. I'm not talking about those, just kind of talking about what's currently come before us. So neither one of you have any questions or comments you'd like to reiterate on? That's just my feelings out of the policy handbook and what I have come up with, I guess, in my searches.
There again, I'm kind of maybe a little different, but we've seen a lot of abuse on both credit cards and food over the years. And we have talked to each individual. I mean, if you're gonna have a meeting and you could have the meeting with all your employees at 10 o'clock, but you decide, well, let's do it at noon so we can have a meal. That's not right. I mean, each department head and elected official needs to take responsibility for their budget and make sure it's utilized good. I just went, I mean, there's just so many different situations for everybody, just there where today's stuff we just authorized or approved. I mean, there's meals in there for food for the safety tabletop, which that's probably legitimate. I mean, you're buying it for when you bring the people together, but that's a meal that purchased by the county, but there's more than just employees there too. And then another one from the academy training for the sheriff's department for $1,100. There again, that's meals that it's not just for employees doing, it's meals that I think are justified, and it's up to the elected official and department head to sign off on them and make sure they're keeping track of their expenses and using taxpayer money wisely. Just saying a blanket policy, you can't use taxpayer money for food is tough to say because every situation is a little different. You know, I leave it up to the elected officials and department heads to make sure they're controlling it. And sometimes we need to remind you guys that we're watching it and you probably shouldn't be doing it. And a lot of times you say, oh yeah, that probably shouldn't have been done, that we can do it this way instead. So it's, yeah.
I think in with what Gordon said, I mean, there is definitely purpose for it. I think this policy is probably outdated, needs to be updated to encompass some of that.
But we really don't have a food policy. Purchase policy.
When we
have credit card policy, but we really don't have anything on food that
I never saw anything on food.
I
Only
mean,
food.
it's just a matter of doing it, using taxpayer money wisely.
Where did you say you got yours?
This came off of the United States government website is where this came off of.
And the biggest thing is it's fringe benefit. Like I say, if you're a department and you say, well, let's at noon, let's just have a meeting, safety meeting or a whatever meeting so we can order food in. That's misuse of funds in my opinion. But if it's something special, if you have to stay over lunch you got a project that is time sensitive have to be done, then I don't see a problem with ordering a pizza like that for the employees, but every situation is so different.
And I'm on the same agreement. I can see Jeff sitting over, say there's a massive disaster, I'm not picking on you, and your dispatchers can't get out. I think that's a justified deal because you cannot physically leave work to keep your job going. Those are things that I see are justified. As Gordon said, just to have a meeting over lunch to discuss something when you could have done it at 10 o'clock, I don't see those as justifiable expenses. That's where I'm at, and I think this is just an update. And as Gordon said, we stamp off on them. We're the ones that have to answer to the payments that are going out, or the checks that are going out. There's checks and balances that come through the clerk and recorder's office. So I guess for me, it's a tighten up and be aware of where your money's get spent and why you're spending it. That's what it boils down to me, to be aware that some of this stuff is kind of frivolous spending, I guess. And the dollar amounts at the end of the year, we've been pretty fortunate since I've been here that the budgets have been pretty easy to go through at budget time. But I know when Gary was in here, and that was one thing that he always questioned too, was the meal expenditures. And if you take the frivolous spending over a multitude of years, 4 or 5 years, that's the difference between having to cut budgets and being okay and safe. So, that's kind of the moral of what I wanted to do, is just a reminder, and be aware of where you're spending your money and why you're spending it, and kind of be accountable to the taxpayer dollars, I guess, is where I'm at.
Well, I'd like to hear what you guys, any department heads or elected officials or anybody else has to say on it, or what your feelings are on, or where we should be going with this.
I guess for me, I would just like the credit card policy to be enforced.
I'm
mean, we
getting
have
the
the-
receipts back to you.
Well, we have this policy. It has never been enforced, ever, ever,
The
ever.
receipts are always an issue, and it causes a lot of grief and time.
So we have meetings once a month, and I've gotten pizzas for our meetings for 15, 20 years almost. Is that not allowed anymore?
To me, I would say if it's just employees and you're just doing it, no, but if you're bringing outside people in and you're doing it at noon, so people that have real jobs can come and help you with government things, then it should be allowed. I feel.
All right, so
If
trainings
it's
are.
just employees, then it's a little different, unless you're having a day-long training and you can't take a break for noon.
Right, okay,
You know, but most of the time you can take a break for noon.
all right, yeah,
And
that's
just
just
like
the way we've
normally.
always done it. I wasn't aware of anything
Well-
wrong with it, so.
It's, there again, it's department heads and elected officials have to decide what's the
Yeah.
best way to spend taxpayer money.
Okay.
I have a question. But like, when we have our deputy meetings, we can do the meal thing, that
Those are,
it's very rare, it's only employees.
Yeah, see, then it's an extra benefit for employees, and that shouldn't be done.
Oh.
You know, really, because that should be held at 10 o'clock instead of noon.
We have ours at 1,300 hours.
Yeah, 1 o'clock, so, you know, you're after lunch, everybody should be back to work then. You know, if you're bringing outside people in and,
No, we're not bringing out.
you know, if it's just a strictly employee benefit, then it's a fringe benefit, if you ask me, that's how I would feel about it.
And then,
You know, normally you take your own lunch from 12 to 1 and you come back to work
mine's
at 1,
12:30 to 1.
so you're back to work for your meeting, so you're good.
And then, I do have a question, like, when we do our SARS, sometimes we have to use the credit card for that purpose. We do get reimbursed from the state, but.
Yeah, that's
we do-
okay, I
that
mean,
would be okay.
I think the health department has that too, their grants supply. You can have meals during that grant, because that grant is running it's just not for employees most of the time. If it's a grant thing, that's totally different too.
Okay, cool.
Because the grants allow it, you're not spending tax for you're spending tax with the federal taxpayer dollars. So you gotta be careful with that too.
Yeah,
You
that's
don't
why I
want to
want.
abuse anything like that.
Would you like more justification for some of those things, like instead of just an invoice that comes and says?
Oh, it'd be great, because I mean,
Write up
this one from the county, it says MIEA. I have no idea what that is. I mean, I kind of do, but you know. But the more explanation you can have, the better. It says academy training. So you know you can figure it out, but. Yeah. But if you have a justification or something in there, then we don't question it, or then it's just expand.
It's oh, now we understand why that purchase was. I mean, you can see it could come in from, IT on a TV. Well, you know, what's the TV for? You know, we're gonna understand it's gonna be for Zoom, or it's gonna be through, but it's some of those things that, you know, really, what is that? And you know, for me, when I stamp off of them, it's either a business or a credit card that we have to make that payment, but we don't understand. I don't understand sometimes. Why is this something that we're paying for? I don't understand that. Not that maybe it's none of my business as to why we're paying for it, but it makes the wheels turn a little bit for me. It's like, okay, that makes sense to me. I understand that. And a lot of the times for me, it's, can I defend that purchase to the taxpayers? That's what it boils down to me. If we have somebody come in and asking, well, why was this bought? Why was that bought? Maybe it's out of another elected official, another department head, and it is within your purview to buy it. But the first place an honorary taxpayer is going to come is into this office. They're going to want to know, why was this bought? And if we understand or we know what it is, then it's pretty easy for us to defend it. We can get behind you. We can back your expense. If we don't know, we kind of look like a buffoon and not know what's going on within the county. That's in Gordon's done this a lot longer than I have, and there's definitely a place for some meals to be purchased. I do not dispute that one bit. But the understanding of why and some of the extra expenditures, it just seems to me, my feeling is this things have gotten a little bit loose, and we need to tighten it back up on some of the things that's being purchased that I would say are fringe benefit or some frivolous purchases. So I mean, we in this office, we buy our own coffee. The county paid for the coffee filters. I don't know. I think Lindsay's saying no. So I mean,
We buy our own.
Jail was just $3,000 worth of coffee. We just did a purchase for it.
so I mean,
Inmates drink a lot of
I
coffee.
said we've always bought our own Kleenexes. The county's never provided Kleenexes.
you know, so I mean, there are some of those things that some are personal, some are not. Fine line on a Kleenex, I would just assume, you know, you have a Kleenex in there, but
Well, given the toilet paper, I'll buy my own Kleenex.
yeah. I mean, so those are some of the things. I mean, I'm not gonna be Scrooge sitting here, but I like to drink coffee, and I probably drink more than I should. I mean, I buy my own water. Doug comes in with his own soda and his own drinks. You know, those are some of the things that I think, whether you're at work or not, you're gonna eat. You're gonna buy something to drink. Those I would consider personal. You know, there are some meetings and some circumstances. I know 911. I know Board of Health has outside people coming in. I know jury trials and things like that. There's circumstances around that. Witness. I understand those things. I truly do. And those I understand. But as Gordon said, you know, just to have a meeting at lunch and provide lunch when you could have it 1, 2, 10, whatever, those are the things that kind of fall into a different deal. I know the credit cards, since I've been here, that's always been, seems to be a bit of an issue. I know there's a lot of vendors that we have accounts with, and I think we would prefer, if we do have an account with those vendors, that you use that vendor account instead of a credit card. It
It should be an exception to use a credit card. Should be charge it to the vendor. And if they're not a vendor we're deal with, find a vendor we deal with. I mean, credit card should be minimum.
So,
Buy local, buy with a vendor we have, one or the other.
so as a, for instance, we had that shooting this summer when that dude was running around downtown. My guys had to stay for anywhere from 2 to 4 hours after their 12-hour shift. Would that have been something
To give them whatever,
allowable?
give them whatever they want.
Um,
I mean, they're going above and beyond.
Filling up with caffeine and sugar?
I mean, stuff like that, we want to support.
Yeah,
those are the exceptions, right? I mean,
yeah, that's not regular.
I mean, that's a call of duty. I would say,
Mm,
you know, 911, sheriff's office, all that you guys are in the process of doing your job, and because of that, there's extenuating circumstances that put it to that point. I would bat an eye. I'd open my wallet up and help you guys out if it came to that, you know. I mean, it's, but I mean, those are the things that are definitely extenuating circumstances.
yeah.
You can't write a policy for that because there are always circumstances that come out. I
And
guess.
that's like with DES too, you know, if we got, you know, situations like the water's rolling over the bridge or something,
Yeah.
you know, when ice breaks up,
I
you
mean,
might have DES out there having to feed responders, or,
Yeah.
you know, when the elevator burned down, that could have been a lot worse.
yeah. I mean, those are, to me, those are whatever you guys need.
Mhm,
That's where I sit, because those are those circumstances that come into play.
right.
I'm curious about an upcoming trial that we're having. Can I use the credit card for purchasing, like we have a large list for water, batteries, Kleenexes, that sort of thing?
I mean, if you can get it at a local vendor,
At
we would prefer,
Albertsons?
we would prefer to go ahead and do that.
They charge. There's Albertsons charge and stuff like that.
Do we have an Albertsons? I know you'd have to use, you do, but yeah, you'd have to use just the regular. And like you could go to Eglon too and use.
As long as we get a receipt for it
Yep.
What about,
and a definition of what it means.
what about the employees having to stay and work through lunch during the trial?
There again, if you gotta work, if they gotta be there and they're working, getting paid, then that's fine.
We do for the election too. If it's slow, we leave for lunch. If not, and then we have to be here till 2 a.m. So we do a dinner meal as well for
Yeah.
election night.
That's all exception. That's not scheduling the meeting over lunch, just so you know lunch. And well, I thought.
If I may be heard on something, just out of curiosity, since we're on this line of discussion of, I understand the point of trying to buy local, use local vendors. However, Erica and I have discussed before, I know we've discussed this before, Robert, of there's certain times where trying to buy local is trying to figure out how it works without being too harsh, but almost more of a waste of taxpayer money because it'll be like an item I need down in the office. It'll be, say, $5 online on Amazon, but a local vendor will have it for, say, $25. I would prefer buy online rather than local at that point, just because the exorbitant cost compared to the local option. I think.
So is your local business gonna say your taxes are too, I'm not gonna pay?
So
Your local business man gonna say your taxes in Roosevelt County are too high, I'm not gonna pay it. They pay our wages.
no, I know,
These
but
local businesses pay our wages.
I
I am
understand.
a local business. I wanna make sure that my taxpayer dollars are not used wisely and used, not Amazon because they don't pay any.
We
taxes.
run into the same thing with the election stuff.
But it-
90% of our stuff we buy local, but
Yeah.
there are
There's
things
some exceptions.
that are more than double,
It's not the
sometimes
rule.
3, 4 times that we do buy, like our Tyvek envelopes.
Yeah.
We buy elsewhere. Everything else we buy local, everything else we order from Wills,
If you're
but there are
90
certain things that are like, you can't even compare.
That's why I'm just having this up. I'm just kind of bringing up this
Or
point.
don't buy it.
But
It's something
some
you don't
things,
need.
some things we can't go about, but it's just the cost difference is so great. I'm just posing it as, is that a wise use of taxpayer resources at that point?
Just don't buy it.
A good cost.
We have to have our envelopes. Our
No, I'm
Tyvek
talking
envelopes.
about something small
Oh.
like that. If it's $20 and you can buy it for $5, just don't buy it.
Easier said than done sometimes, but I understand your
I mean,
point.
if it's something you need, you can find it local or with a vendor.
A cost, you're kind of talking a cost prohibited,
Yeah, I don't know what that would be.
buy it here versus buy it there. I
Yeah,
will say if it comes in on a claim form from, Liker.
Yeah.
If a case of notebooks. We stamp the claim. So if you buy it,
But Wills would be a lot nicer
You know.
because they pay taxes.
we like.
And they're gonna be more expensive. You don't know that.
no, of course, I understand local is more expensive, and I understand supporting local business. I'm just posing it as, food for thought
Yeah.
here of where's the
Turn it-
line
Turn it,
sometimes.
buy it, then buy it somewhere else at a different time. There again, it's just using the taxpayers as wise, money as wise as you.
I know, well, and this come from Gary that kind of no Amazon purchases. That was kind of the deal. When our credit card statement comes up, everything that we do here is public. If somebody wants to pull it up and they see Roosevelt County credit card, $5,000 purchases to Amazon, our taxpayers are gonna say, we're paying taxes and you're not supporting our own business. So there's that deal. But if it's a personal purchase for business type of a thing, we stamp the claim and it goes through, so.
And Amazon is in Montana now, so at least they're paying state taxes, but they're not paying any local.
I was just posing it more as a general food for thought, like wise use of taxpayer resources. Where's the delineation line on certain things?
If it's that expensive, don't buy it.
Doug? Sounds good.
Hey, I'm in agreement with both. I mean, the credit card policy, getting the receipts in has always been an issue. It's always been. I've been guilty of it too, but, you gotta try as hard as you can to bring the receipt back just right away, suddenly.
So the credit cards, shouldn't they be used more for where, actual warrant is not feasible? So say, one place, I think this is the only thing we've ever used a credit card for is when one of my, employees go to, become a notary. I mean, in order to pay to become a notary, you have to apply online. And
Yeah,
so
that's what
in that
you do.
instance, but if there's a way to either get a petty cash check or a warrant, then I guess my theory is they should be paid through that.
Exactly. It's a lot better for auditing if it's all done through warrants.
I know you love petty cash checks. That's more of a taxpayer, you do that, and then you have to write the check, then you have to do the claim check, then you have to take the claim check to the bank. So no, I don't like petty cash checks.
I think a lot of the businesses in Roosevelt County probably will accommodate, counter charge, to my knowledge.
That'll be house charges.
I know some of the business have gone away from it, but I think as a county entity, they should be pretty willing to the fact that, hey, you know, I understand it's Roosevelt County, you're the county, yeah, we can work with you on that, we can set something up. You know, and there's a lot of times, credit cards are used for postage. We do have a postage machine in here, correct? So I don't know what the postage demands are, or why the credit card's being used for postage, but I get there's some circumstances around that, but receipts coming back are good with the description of what, US Post Office and stuff like that, but
Like with our postage, we have evidence and stuff that has to go out, that's what we use.
Sure.
That won't go through them.
yeah.
Kind of the same way down the county attorney's office, we send a lot of things out, so we just buy stamps and we just have it ready to go.
Gotcha. So those are, those are the circumstances that are around that. Be diligent and be aware of where the money's getting spent, I guess, is the bottom line. Any other comments, feedback?
I guess I kind of have one comment. My book vendor doesn't always have books that people want to read. For whatever reason, they may be out and not resupplying it. So, I mean, I have gone through Barnes and Noble, but I go through Amazon fairly frequently to get those books in. But I don't put it on the credit, I just pay for it on my account, and then I turn a claim into Tracy to reimburse me cause I use Amazon.
Sure.
In that instance, is that okay, or should I be trying to find another book vendor?
Try to find another book maker.
If you can,
Okay,
for me, the paper trail is, we pay Janet for books. That's me. If you can find another book vendor that you have an account with, would be great. Sometimes you probably can't. Maybe there's not a need for it, but I can say, well, Roosevelt County reimbursed Janet for books, and I personally can defend that to the taxpayers. And that's how I view it. Is it great to buy it through Amazon? Maybe, maybe not, but Amazon is a beast. I mean, it's hurt a lot of our local businesses, and that's why we try to. I think that's why the price swing has probably gotten to where it is now, is because of Amazon, and we're losing our businesses. And Roosevelt County can't stand to lose too many more businesses, otherwise we lose so much of our tax base. And that's one of the things that we see in here on a daily basis too, is the businesses going and land getting switched out into trusts and other things without getting too deep into it. And when that happens, we lose our tax base. So I can stamp a claim pretty easy to reimburse a person, rather than stamping a credit card that says it was an Amazon purchase. That's
Yeah.
pretty tough for me.
No, on my claim file, I always put the title of the book, cause I keep thinking if I want to come in and know why $50 was spent on a book. And I might wanna know what the title was and if it's relevant to the library. I always put the titles on. And the author.
What if you could stay away from an Amazon, but then some other vendor's gonna get the money anyway?
Yeah,
So it's no two circumstances are the same. And it's just can I defend it? Can it be defended by the commissioner? That's what I look at. Can I defend that purchase? Could I defend Betty's tissues?
I'll do my own.
So. That was for what the headline came out, that was the kind of the gist of the meeting. I appreciate you guys coming over. I guess we haven't had a department head or elected official meeting since I've been here. Do you guys have anything you'd like to add on anything else? Floor is yours.
I
Links.
visited with Patty that this used to be something that happened on a regular basis and it would be nice to have us be able to have a forum with you
Sure.
on a quarterly basis,
Yeah.
a monthly, just have that check-in to be able to say, okay, what does Tracy need us to do? And
Yeah.
she's gonna be here and she can tell us exactly what she needs and you're doing great.
And I guess on that from us, here, no news is usually good news, but it also is a forum and a way to let the public know as well. I mean, these are recorded. They go onto our website. So if somebody wants to inquire about what public health is doing or I know maintenance has been running like his tail's on fire here as of late, but what's Craig and his crew been up to or what's the extension or the weed board been up to? What I have found in my years and years is the public generally doesn't know what any office does unless they're associated with that office. And it's hard to know for the public to know how their taxpayer money is getting spent. And shining a little bit of light on it is something that I think would be good for the public to. I know Bill's in here and he comes to about every meeting and he writes a pretty good article up and kind of keeps the county abreast of what's going on. So that's something that we can look forward to in the future and see if we can work something out.
Maybe we should go around and give a 1 minute of what they've been doing here. Start with the road. What's new in the road?
Not much ice.
You fully employed? You got it.
We're fully employed, but we're actually we're seasonal person come anytime, or 1 month full-time person.
Part-time.
Same stuff, payroll claims, getting ready for the, all we're done.
Sure.
Yeah.
Aaron's office.
Busier compared to other years, to put it that way.
Are you?
2 years ago, we had only 12 or 13 filings in district court. Last year, we had 35 filings in district court, and that's not counting misdemeanors. So it's definitely a busier year. And already for only being 1 month into the year, it's busier than last year already. So it's picking up.
Wendy.
Okay, well, on the educational front with extension, we just had a board training last night. We just did weigh-ins for 4-H animals for steers last week. Next week, we'll have a livestock meeting for people that need pesticide points. Another month, we'll have a cropping meeting again, which are both here. And then we'll have pesticide training. In the next month, that's what's going on in the next month.
February 1st.
February 2nd,
February 1st.
we will have a new extension agent that is finally replacing Artis, 2.5 years. So that will be nice.
What's his name?
His name is Michael Mulvey. He is from Ireland. So how exciting. Very interesting.
So why are you going on St. Patrick's Day?
I don't know. I'm gonna wear a shirt that says I'm Basque.
Well, they're not growing right now, so I'm doing lots of mapping for when they do decide to come up. So, and then I have my winter conference coming up here second week in February, so I'll be in Billings for that.
On the school side, I've been doing a lot of prep for the county spelling bee. I've been reaching out to local businesses for donations for the children that are in the spelling bee. We just had our hearing on the land transfer between Bainville and Freud. We're waiting for an outcome on that, and then on
Got canceled.
the culvert's been wanted, but not the Bainville to Freud.
Just like, oh, I didn't
Yep.
realize that.
So we had Molly Lloyd here on Friday from Powder River. And then on the clerk side, it's been a pretty busy and trial prep.
AG.
We are finally fully staffed at all our meal sites. And coming out of Medicare Part D open enrollment, getting back into just getting caught up with all the paperwork and in-house stuff and getting ready to go to the meal sites and do a survey so we can find out how that's going at each one and helping the random person turning 65 kind of understand Medicare.
65, I don't understand. Yeah. Are you fully staffed tonight?
We're fully staffed. Have been for about a month and a half now. We just emergency medical dispatch refreshers last week. Almost had CPR training, but our trainer broke his rib. Yeah, we're doing good. We're doing good. Ready for the
New equipment over there? Any issues there?
We're probably gonna have to refresh our 911 servers this year. We refreshed our CAD servers because they died this past summer, so we got new servers this summer. We don't have to worry about those. But our 911 servers are reaching the end of life, so we're gonna have to replace those this summer, probably. If the price looks right.
Eddie.
Well, in the month of January, we've been dealing with the renewal cards from the motor vehicle division that got sent out with the wrong amounts. So what they did is they created them in December, which calculated the depreciation on the vehicles incorrectly. So we've been either doing refunds, applying it to their account, or having them write new checks, which has been fun.
And someone said you had to have your card to get your driver, or your license plate renewed. Was that what, Doug? What was that? That's not right. That's not right. I didn't think it was.
Yeah. And if I can't find you on the internet, I know other ways of finding it. Well, yeah. Hey, it's my job to hunt down dead people. The other thing is we just started on tax deed for this year, and in January is usually my first letter that I send out, and I sent out over 60.
This homestead stuff. Yeah, if you have a second home, it's a long-term rental, you gotta apply for that now.
Yep, and I think the deadline,
Comes up.
I think it's March 2nd.
You have a second home that you have a long-term
Yep,
rental and you get a
long-term.
cheaper property tax.
Yep.
Library.
We're still taking applications for the oil painting and art class that's coming up. Tomorrow is the deadline at 5 o'clock if anybody wants to apply. Kat McIntyre is the one I think is gonna go through those lists, those applications and pick the 10 people. And hopefully they'll stick with it for the 15 weeks. This is all being paid for by grant money. So it's not coming out of my budget. And Playtime Pals has really picked up. We have about an average, it's probably tripled since 2 or 3 years ago. Heather's doing a really good job. And yesterday was owls. The program was about owls, and she even had a recording of owl sounds, and it sounded like the owl was in the building yesterday. But the kids enjoy it, so.
Oh,
We're a busy bunch. It's influenza season, so we've got immunizations all the time. Poor Tracy has to deal with all the, her bunch has to deal with a lot of deposits from insurance companies, but we've got outside of immunization, we've got communicable disease stuff that's going on. With FEP, we had our facility safety training. We brought in folks from the state that reviewed our aging and health department office and found some some soft spots. And so we're working now to tighten things up. We have public restrooms over there and public water fountains, and just, it creates an opportunity for things to be unexpected. So we're fixing some things there. We've got Board of Health February 2nd, and since it's the first board meeting of the year, we're electing new chair and vice chair. Or we have the opportunity to elect new chair and vice chair for the Board of Health, and we're still looking for an educational professional, I believe, so that's on the docket. We just finished a short-term reimbursement grant with the state for H5N1 bird flu. And we were able to work with partners at the vet clinics and at healthcare and bring them all together to prepare for any upcoming pandemic efforts. So we have now a giant cabinet in our alternate emergency operations center, which is the conference room over at the health department. And it's going to be chock full of rapid response first aid and PPE. And Lindsay will have the key to it, and we will be able to, in a DES and emergency preparedness function, be ready to roll out no matter what happens. So
Sheriff's Department.
All kinds of stuff
Taylor.
we're working on in that. PWPs. All kinds of trainings. We have one going to MLEA Sunday. They'll be there. Trainings nonstop. What do you mean?
The health department, I got your lock ordered, and it's key to your health department door.
and
They
give
don't have
the
to have an
giant
extra
cabinet
key.
too.
Lindsay will have a key, so she can get in there through DES, just sends Derek dealing with ice. Derek's been great to help me bring on gravel to help at least get some traction down there. So that's been working out very well.
Did you or sand, or did you get a sander or we?
I got a sander, but it's on order, they didn't have any in stock,
Okay.
so they're gonna call me when it comes in and I'll go pick it up. Talked to Jack, my truck's next on the bucket list to get fixed, it's been over there for a while, but due to that vandalism. So hopefully I get my maintenance truck back here shortly.
Culbertson Electrical.
That's done, but we're short on exit signs somewhere were ordered. There was actually 8 that had to be replaced. A little bit more than I thought, but. And then the hot water heaters, we found out are fine. It's the water pressure in the building is too low, and the pressure has to be at a minimum for the heaters to kick on. So I'm looking at possibly getting a booster pump put in to up the pressure. You turn the water faucets on, they just trickle. And then if you don't have enough flow going through those little heaters, it's a safety precaution. The heater won't kick on. So I always thought they were just didn't work. It's just there's not enough water pressure. We looked up the specs and figured that out. So that's what's going on.
Yeah, any other questions? Yes, I'm sorry.
No, you're doing, I think this was a great opportunity for us as commissioners and the other, the departments, and other elected officials to know what's going on. So I think it was a good meeting, and yeah. I think with that, if you don't have any other questions, I certainly appreciate you all coming in. If you have any questions for us or any of the other offices, feel free to call. Phone always rings, so. Thank you guys for coming. I certainly appreciate it. We'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting.
Thanks for me.